One people, where's this scene? It's your boy, you don't know, MarkN. We back in the joint, and of course, you know it's the transfer market update, the first one from your boy again on the Red Devil mode for the winter window upcoming. And you know what, guys? We're streaming live. It's, you know, the news. We know Manchester United must act in January if we are going to do something in this season and recover from where we finished in 15th place. And of course, we know that Arsenal's making noise and Liverpool is trying to do some things. And of course, Man City did their thing. And of course, Chelsea is trying to do some things. So now we must be smart, move fast, and act with hunger. It's going to be very interesting. And tonight, I'm going to lay out why I believe United are eyeing three big names in January. And that those three big names, you can see the thumbnail. It's Angelo Stiller, Carlos Baleba, and of course, Antoine Semenyo, and how they could pivot out on Andre Onana, of course, Jadon Sancho, possibly leaving in January as well, and even Marcus Rashford to make room for these signings. But we won't stop there. I'll show you a daring way that United can possibly even make some moves for some other interesting players like Diomande Sporting, and even a top signing from Real Madrid like Camavinga. These things are all possible, guys. Stay tuned for more because, of course, your boy is bringing it to you. Sit tight. It's the vibes on deck with your boy. We're going to dissect some leaks and some rumors and give you some information. I know lots of people are talking about a $5.2 billion sale for Manchester United, but let's be honest about life. In order for Sir Jim to make a profit, United has to sell for above 6.3 billion. So therefore, any rumors of a 5.2 billion sale, well, let's just say it's not on the money. It doesn't add up. There's no cent where there's no dollars. And of course, we know it's all about profits. Let's get into this information right now. Of course, you know the style. I come in, I give you the information that I have. You tell me what you think about it in the chat, how you feel about these signings, what you think is actually possible, what you guys are feeling. And of course, guys, we are going to react to this information. And of course, when I tell you guys, there's going to be some interesting news because Angelo Stiller, before the summer window closed, United definitely tried to make a last-minute attempt to bid for the player, valued around 35 million euros. And like I tell you guys, the 35 million euros that he's valued at is around 25 million pounds, give or take 27. Now, when you look at this deal, it's a very interesting situation. He plays the kind of composed passing, control-oriented defensive style that Man United is looking for. He's a player that you can give the ball into tight and difficult situations, and he will find a way out very calmly, smoothly. And right now, the Stuttgart players in high demand, and he's not actively seeking a move, but he has openly said if he is to move, he wants a move away. That opens the door for Manchester United, who have maintained interest up until this point that we are speaking right now. And I can tell you that there are rumors that Manchester United are talking to the players' camp, trying to find out what's the possibility for a move in the January window. It might cost them a little bit more than the transfer market price, but with the new form of layaway style payments, guys, I tell you, Man United are able to do a madness. They did a bit in the summer. That wasn't crazy yet, but what's crazy is the plan for January. And I know everyone thinks we're not going to do much in January, but things have changed and the times are shifting. And of course, Man United is eyeing some deals for some very interesting talents who can improve this squad and take us to the promised land. And we are aiming for Europe next season. And this is the reason why I tell you that this is coming now. There's some interesting news from his ambitions to move abroad. Of course, Stuttgart may try to block the move, but he wants playing time. So if Man United is to secure a move for this player, the funds are not going to be enough. They're going to have to guarantee this guy some form of playing time, whether it's as a rotational player or a possible important starting level player. Now, there are many clubs starting to gain interest in young Angelo Stiller, but that does not sway the Man United faithful, as they believe that they are in the front running row to secure a deal for this player. Now, let's take a little bit of a transition, guys, because I want to give you the information on the three players before we start the discussion, but you guys can drop your thoughts in the chat. Of course, I will read them. I will bring them up. As you can see, they would also be on the screen. Now, the major issue this summer was our inability to secure the signing of Carlos Baleba. There are lots of reports coming out that Brighton wants a staggering 120 million euros for this player. But I would say to you guys, it's very unreasonable that Brighton would be allowed to make a contract with this youngster. They guaranteed him that they would not do exactly just that. And not only that, it also has some writing there that kind of limits what they can demand for the player. Now, I'm not saying it says in his contract that they can only sell him for less than 120 million euros. But if a club comes in with above 75 million pounds, negotiations must be had. And of course, if this player is, as the rumors say, submitting a transfer request for a move in January, this even makes it more difficult for Brighton to up the fee for this player. And I keep you informed on this, guys. This news will be coming thick and fast in the next few weeks as we prepare for the transfer January window. And of course, you know there's a World Cup, and also there's AFCON's nation. So moves have to be made very quickly, as there will be a very, very tight schedule in the next coming months. So I tell you now, clubs are preparing at this point, and Man United are set to be in overdrive, because not only are they set to make an audacious £78 million bid for Baleba with further add-ons. Of course, we will discuss more on that as the news comes out. Of course, we had a possible bid in the summer, but things may have changed, and the dynamics of this with Carlos Baleba putting in a transfer request as reported or saying that he is asking to leave. It makes a big difference, and of course, it augments the price that they can demand for this player. Guys, I'm not trying to tell you, but I try to keep you informed with all the news. I don't like to do the whole wind-up rumor mill thing. So I'm trying. Shout out to you, Mark Davies. Do you think United will sell the club? Well, we will discuss the sale of the club in just a little bit, Mark. We're talking about a few transfers that will be very interesting that can possibly come into January. When I get through that, I will certainly drop the dimes on what I know or what I can tell you about what I heard about the sale. Of course, I don't know if United will sell, but I tell you, if the price is right, the sale will be there. There is interest, and of course, the dragon clause certainly is activated, Mark. We spoke about this, so it's going to be it's going to happen once the money is there, and that's the most important thing about that situation. Of course, there's also other information coming out. Of course, there's news that Liverpool is also interested in Carlos Baleba. They are set to also be trying to attempt to make a bid, but hold on, guys. Just remember, we have discussed that Carlos Baleba said he wants Man United. He even said that he's a believer. And if this is possible, guys, the player will certainly keep his door open to Man United. Of course, I'm not saying he's not going to listen to other offers. But if he did give priority to Man United, Liverpool is going to have to take a back seat and hold some strain, as we say in Trinidad and Tobago. But you know how it is, guys. And of course, we know the reasons why we like the likes of Stiller and Baleba. Our midfield is still underperforming, albeit Bruno Fernandes is one of the highest ranked midfielders based on performance metrics. Stats are not the only thing. Of course, we're going to have to deal with the facts that there's going to have to be changes to the way we play in midfield in order to further, facilitate the style of this current manager. And the valuation for Baleba is sort of huge, like 78 million pounds is nothing to sniff at. And of course, in order to make this thing possible, United would have to pay a ginormous sum up front, somewhere in the region of 60 to 65 million pounds up front for the player. And of course, that's if it's agreed. And of course, that's if it's in the realm of what I have been hearing. Sorry, my audio is cracked. Hold on. I think it's my charger. Let me know if the audio is better now. Sorry about Rasta stocks. Oh, Luan, shout out to you. How are you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're well. I hope you're feeling better, and I hope so is your friend as well. Shout outs to her. We did keep her in our prayers. You know what I mean? So just saying to let you know. Interestingly enough, there's also been some reports about Antoine Semenyo. He's currently lighting up the news, all different area coach right now, because there's some really interesting stories coming out about this player. There's not only rumors that he's possibly can be signing for Chelsea, but there's also rumors that Liverpool also is keen on signing the player. Not to mention Newcastle was trying to make a move in the summer. And of course, we know that United had some discussions with him and his camp. And it will be interesting to see if United take it further. Of course, there were reports this summer that United made an offer, and then with the offer that they made to Matthias Cunha, Antoine Semenyo was saying to them, "Listen, if you're offering this guy 100 plus, why aren't you doing the same for me?" And of course, while I will disagree with that, at the same time, it's arguable that his performances could bench the likes of Matthias Cunha if he comes to Manchester United in January. Of course, we know this is going to take the outgoings of the likes of Marcus Rashford, who I would dare to say that there are many reports confirming the level of plea of pleasure the Barcelona senior members of staff have with the player's performance currently. They think that he will go on to achieve great things. He had a rough start, but he did show some confidence, some strong mentality to take himself and improve his performances. And of course, he's somewhere between 4 goals and 3 assists, or 3 goals and 4 assists. I think he's not even been a consistent starter. I think that's interesting. You know what I mean? And there are reports that Barcelona is keen to activate the clause because it might prove to be a masterstroke if his performance skyrockets coming to the end of the season. And of course, it's a World Cup year. Marcus Rashford is definitely has his eyes on the English national squad. He may not have been called up, or he may have been called up, but he's certainly trying to make sure he gets on that plane to the USA, Mexico, or Canada in the summer of 2026. So, guys, what I can tell you, it gets very interesting there, because that's going to be 35 million for Manchester United. Pure profit means that we could probably spend 3 times that amount. Of course, based on what information there is, we already have a residual budget. And remember, we bid for Baleba, and Brighton said no, the money is still there. So therefore, we still have some funds. And this is why I can tell you guys with some confidence that there is some truth in the fact that Man United could be stepping up their movements and making an aggressive move for these 3 players in the summer. Now, I'm going to bring my buddy Bally Tech in the building. You know him, guys. Shout out to the brother. Of course, he's going to come after here. He has been following the news himself. He also has his own opinions. And of course, we'll hear what he thinks. And of course, let's get into what you guys are saying. Shout out to Monica. And guys, if you had her in your prayers, please continue to do so. Thank you so very much. Shout out to Luan France in the building. And shout out to Mark Davies. We haven't forgotten you, bro. We will be talking about the sale right after this. Yo, Ali, Broski.
Yo, 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 big up to everyone in the chat. Have no fear, Bally Tech is here. We're in the building right now.
Yo, Broski, what are you saying? I know you've been hearing the news. We've been having some discussions, of course. You have your own opinions. What are your thoughts? What do you think about what I have been saying about these 3 possible players? We can start with whichever one you choose, but of course, the floor is yours.
Well, I'll start with Baleba. Baleba, he was linked to us in the summer. He was youngster, up and coming. At the time, one of the best midfielders in the Prem from the previous season. Coming into this season now, the manager has confirmed that the speculation and the rumor of him leaving and the discussions breaking down has caused his form to dip, and he's been getting hooked off after like 45 minutes of pretty much most of the games, which is a little disappointing to hear because I expected him to be tearing it up continuously. However, you know, there's other prize stallions in the race as well, that Man United are looking at. I hear we're looking at Stiller and some other players. I hear that we're looking at Anderson and Wharton and all these players. So yeah, I mean, Baleba, if we're gonna spend 100+ million, we need to get bang for our buck. You know what I mean? So the guy has to step
100.
up his game. In regards to Semenyo, for me, that guy, I don't know why he's not a Man United player now. I remember when I heard the report about Ruben Amorim going for dinner with him, and then him just not being too happy with the wages being offered. And when I heard that, I was frustrated because not only have I seen him start the season on fire, but I felt like he's like a cheat code player in a way. This guy, when he gets the ball, he always beats the man that he's trying to beat, and he always creates dangerous situations. Now, a player that used to create dangerous situations for Manchester United when he was here was Alejandro Garnacho. So, although he didn't always beat his man, he always found himself in dangerous situations like Semenyo does. The only difference is Semenyo can beat his man, will get himself into dangerous situations, can finish off the left foot, can finish off the right foot, can start on the left and start on the right, start in the 10, and can play as an auxiliary striker. So for me, I want to get this guy in. I think they should move heaven and earth to bring this guy into the club. Because right now our attack, even though it's improved, it's ticking over and we're starting to click into gear a little bit. But I believe that a signing like Semenyo will level up the whole attack to the point where now, if you see a Semenyo and Mbumo and a Sesko and a Cunha and a Mason Mount and a Bruno Fernandes, and all these guys are just sort of floating around the team, in and around the attack. Teams are going to be very scared of us, in my humble opinion.
$100%.
Who's the next guy? Who's the
Well,
last guy?
there's a menu, there's Baleba, and there's Stiller, and of course, there's some recent reports that, like I've been telling you guys in the summer, that we've been hearing some reports that there is some interest in the Sporting centre back Diomande. There was a possibility that he could have moved to one of the Premier League clubs for a fee as low as £35 million. It happened to fall through last minute. But this has not spurred the player or stopped him from dreaming of the Premier League. And of course, his former manager is at Manchester United. And of course, Manchester United is looking to make a replacement in the centre back position this coming January or this coming summer. What could get very interesting is the price. There were reports that for Man United to get into the frame of the argument, we would have to be starting the deal for somewhere in the region of £70 million. This has changed. And it's a huge, huge, huge possibility and boost to Manchester United hopes, because if they can offer somewhere in the region of 45 to 50 million pounds, it's very likely that this player could become a Red in January. If not, waiting for the summer might open the door to stiff competition from the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspurs, Bayern Munich, as well as the likes of Barcelona. So, guys, I don't know what your thoughts are, but let me know in the comments, what do you think of this interest? Because Manchester United is moving, and they're moving pretty fast. What I can tell you is they are in steady contact with all of their targets as we speak, because like I've been informing you all previously, Manchester United has to deal with the fact that there's AFCON, there's also another international break in November, and there's a World Cup that starts pretty early in June in the USA, North America, Mexico. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Man United has no time to waste if they're going to get these deals done. No club has any time to waste if they're going to get any chance in signing some of their key targets, whichever key targets that they might be in this transfer window. Bali, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you are a fan of that player in particularly. So,
I mean,
let
for
me know what you
me,
think.
I think for me, somebody like a Diomande would be like a dream signing come true, to be honest with you. However, I'm pretty sure he plays for one of the African nations, so I'm not sure if we're gonna sign Baleba, Semenyo, and Diomande, because when you now start to look at the team, you think Mbumo will probably go to AFCON alongside Ahmad, alongside Mazraoui, and then if we had a Baleba and a Diomande, then you would say that they're all out for AFCON. So that's quite a lot of people, to be fair. Having said that, would I do the deal and just risk it for a chocolate biscuit? Hell yeah. Because in my opinion, they're gonna be gone for a month, maybe a month and a bit. Um, in my opinion, I'll probably be thinking, what's the worst that could happen in like 4 weeks? Like they'll come back for the rest of the season and they're gonna do what they gotta do. Um, I do like the name Stiller in the midfield because for me he's got the Paul Scholes factor about him. Now, when I say that, I mean he has a similar style of play in the sense of the guy controls the game, he breaks lines with his passes, he's very much a progressive passer, can come and take the ball off the back four. And I don't really think we have a player like that, which is why a lot of the time we bypass the midfield. And the only time we play into the midfield is when the likes of a Casemiro or Bruno are not being marked by any of the opposition attackers. So until we can get somebody in the midfield who's press resistant, yes, we can sign a Baleba, but Baleba is more of a ball carrying eight. He's not a press resistant midfielder. He's somebody who's gonna work up and work back and tackle people, win the ball in their half of the pitch and help sustain the pressure with the attacks. Whereas somebody like a Stiller is the guy that will take the ball off the back four. He never loses the ball. He gives the correct passes all the time. He breaks lines with his passes, and he gives those type of through the eye of the needle sort of passes that we need to unlock some defenses sometimes. So we need a combination in midfield when it comes to the midfielders. So that's what I think anyway, personally.
Well, Tenno, not to cut what you're saying there, bro, we will touch on that also, but we do appreciate young Dad Gore Jr. There's also Toby Collier. There are rumors that Toby Collier might be moved on. There's possibilities that it could even possibly ending up somewhere near Aston Villa or Fulham. That news will be coming more and more as the transfer window gets nearer. We'll talk about that. And of course, Gilbreth is an interesting talent there. We will talk about that as well. But right now it's Jim Tweets. And Jim Tweets is seemingly forcing himself into the conversation. And right now the higher ups are saying to Amarim that he might need to be giving this brother some bench minutes, maybe 5 to 10 off the bench in a game sometime very soon. That there's little more to be added to that as Shea Lacey has started training with the England national team. There's also been some rumors that he might also be seeing some minutes off the bench coming up. We don't know when. I can't say when for sure yet, but there are these things being put in place. Of course, we know, like I mentioned to you guys, there will be AFCON. There's another international break. Brian Mbeumo, Amad Diallo, they both will be leaving. Of course, we will need needing some reinforcements. And of course, until we make the signings in January, there will be a lot of interesting opportunities for some youngsters who have been showing their performances and their class for the last 2.5 seasons in the youth setup. Now, what gets interesting is there has been a report that has come out recently talking about Eduardo Camavinga. And the January isn't a full rebuild window, but with the right strikes, Man United can definitely make a dent in this big problem or hole that has been plaguing us for the last decade. And guys, what I would say is there is a real chance that Stiller could be our first signing in January. The price point is amazing. The quality of the player is there. What he is going to do to our midfield is almost transformative. And I know that there are lots of you that like Anderson, and I as well I'm very so much thinking that Wharton comes into our midfield and it's set for the next couple years if we add Baleba to him, or maybe even a Stiller next to him. But what I can tell you is that there are some things that might take place with Crystal Palace that might prove that to be very difficult for us. But notably, there has been some rumors popping up about Real Madrid and Camavinga, as I was saying, and it's very possible that he might not be fitting into what is happening at Real Madrid right now. There is some usage. He has been used by the manager, but his position and where he wants to play, it's not really on offer for him right now. And he might be willing to explore his options. And of course, the Premier League is the best league in the world. And for Camavinga, he's not going to go to just any club. Of course, there's going to be lots of interest. Arsenal is probably going to be our main contender for the likes of the player. They tried to do some things with this player around the time when he was signed by Real Madrid. And of course, Manchester United must be there. And if we are going to sign this player, Manchester United are going to have to spend some cash. It's going to be above £50 million. I can tell you it probably might be in the regions of what we paid for Casemiro. But the young guy that he is, I think he's still 23 or 24 years old. I think that provides us with at least 5 to 10 years of a possible strong midfielder who can not only play in the defensive midfield, but can also play in the centre back position, as well as the right centre back position, as well as the left. So it's going
Joe
to get
Bellingham,
interesting.
Joe
Bellingham,
Bellingham, Joe Bellingham.
nope. I haven't heard any news about Jude Bellingham yet on Manchester United since he signed to Borussia Dortmund. He's been having a little bit of a struggle. It's been slightly difficult for him this season. The fans are not yet on his side. They had a lot of expectation for the player, and they don't feel like he's been showing them what they got from Jude. But like I said, Bali, he's a slightly different type of player to Jude, and it will take him some time to earn the respect of the club there, the fans and the faithful and the yellow wall. So it's very interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Shout out to Luan France in the building. And what? Where's the none? The above option. Well, there's no none of the above option, Luan. I mean, in all fairness, these are targets, and I think they're a pretty amazing assortment of targets, to be honest. I mean, if you have a different option, you can stick it in the chat. We'll do some research, and on the next stream, I will definitely bring it to the fore. You know what I mean? If that's your intent, that's okay as well. Shout outs to you. Congratulations, no problem. I try to give some memberships when I can to my faithful followers, all of you who come to support me and support our community, because this is not just my community, this is our community. You know what I mean? It's for each and every one of you to have your say, because we are all Manchester United fans. And at the end of the day, we all want to win, no matter if your view is different from mine, or you like a different player, or you don't like my favorite player. It's all good in the hood. Just come have your say, enjoy the community, talk your talk. We'll be there. You know what I mean? So congratulations to everyone who's got a membership. Shout outs to you. Thank you to Ray Carl Brown for also gifting another 5 memberships. Big up, my brother. Thank you for always supporting the channel as well. Loads of people don't want Job. It's interesting. He's not getting a Dortmund side that's playing very well. Yeah, I didn't want to make it seem like that. I mean, that's a little bit harsh, but I would say that it's going to be some interesting situations. Bali, what's your thoughts on this? Because as Luan, our faithful moderator and also always here listening to us all the time, we definitely have to, you know, fulfill her opinion on what she thinks here, because I think it's something I always say we could also bring a player from the academy. It will be a bit long, But at the same time, if we have some talent that are in the mold that what we are looking for as well.
I mean, I would love to bring somebody from the academy, the likes of a Jaden Camison, Bendito Mantato, Jim Thwaites, Fletcher. I mean, Kokonki. There's Jaden Ganashi. There's quite a few killers down there. So I would love them to all have opportunities. Shay Lacey. So yeah, I mean, but they're not all gonna get opportunities. Some of them are gonna end up leaving the club, and if and when they do, I'll be looking at the manager sideways because we've actually got a team down there, and they. I'm not saying that they're class of '92 level, but they're probably one of the closest things to it that we've had probably since the class of '92. If I'm gonna be
100%.
real,
They
so.
want to treble at youth level.
Yeah, so I think some of these guys need chances. If the team wasn't in such a level of disarray, then maybe they would be given more chances. So to one extent, I can't blame the manager there, but on the other extent, he needs to maybe get rid of more players that he has no plan of using, and then maybe just integrating some kids that way, if that makes any sense. Because we need to start freeing up the spaces for them to come into. Because at the end of the day, I fear that we're going to lose some of them and they're going to go to other clubs. They're going to bad it up there. And then we're going to be looking to spend 50, 60, 75 million to get them back. Because obviously we can see what Alanga's been doing for the likes of Newcastle, for the likes of Forest. And even though the talks haven't been that loud to bring him back, some people would actually like to bring him back. Some people look at Ahmad and they think, well, if Anthony Elanga was playing there, then maybe he might be crossing to the striker. Like so. Like I just think we might need to start valuing the youngsters a little bit more because obviously one or two examples have shown that we need to be maybe valuing the youth a bit more. The likes of Alanga, the likes of Alvaro Carreras, the likes of Mason Greenwood. Yes, uh, Alvaro Fernandez and Mason Greenwood are probably the biggest flops that we've to date in terms of Man United getting rid of them when they shouldn't have, and Alanga as well could be added to that mix. So we need to fix up.
100%, 100%. And I mean, not to disagree with Tenno here, Slabbetti, 500K definitely says that we have a problem there. But what I can tell you is that I heard some reports that, if Man United can get negotiations with Diomande down, there's a strong chance that Harry Maguire will be moving. But I don't think he'll be going to Saudi. I think there might be reports that he'll be moving to another Premier League club, and it could be Everton. I'll just leave that right there. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I want to address this question, bro. And I mean, I don't dispute it. But what I would say is I think maybe he shouldn't be in the midfield. If we put him in the 10, we can have two or three players come into that midfield. Kobe Minu certainly needs to improve himself and start securing his position there because it's getting really long, and we might have to be talking about him very soon in a transfer market stream because there are lots of reports that the deal for Napoli is not going away. In fact, Napoli is doubling down. So we will be bringing some reports on Kobe Minu this week. Most likely, I'll be dropping that stream tomorrow. Of course, we will be discussing that and some other things because there's some interesting things happening with some of our young talents and some other players. And of course, there may be some shock moves here or there, but we will see what is happening. Guys, it's an interesting time, but I want you guys to let me know what you think about in the poll. Definitely choose one of the midfielders there that you think might be a perfect signing for a midfield. I wish you could select both, but for now, we are not sure if they're going to be as aggressive as the reports and rumors are saying. So let's see if one midfielder is what you guys want. Who will you choose? Currently, Stiller is at 40%. There, we can still do better. I see Stiller is at 40%. Baleba is at 40% as well. It's getting interesting, guys. You know, if this is what you guys are saying, I mean, Camavinga is on 20%, and no one is thinking about Semenyo. There's no likes for Semenyo. People certainly thinking in the chat, but my bro, that a midfielder is more important.
I mean, I don't blame them for thinking that a midfielder is more important. But if they told me that I got to choose between this man and that man, if I'm not choosing like a Stiller or Adam Wharton, and it's just between Baleba and Semenyo, then I'm going with Semenyo. I'm sorry, I want Semenyo. I want Semenyo. I mean, because in my opinion, Adam Wharton's still there. Stiller is still there. Beliebers tailored off a little bit. So I mean, I can move for other midfielders. So it doesn't really matter to me. But Semenyo, I don't want to see that guy at Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. I don't want to see him there. When we can go and take him, why not?
Sure, I don't disagree there, and I also have to second what Luan is saying. I feel like sometimes we bring in some players at some high costs, and they tend to regress, and then it starts all over again with a different bunch of players. I mean, if we look into ourselves and try to focus on what we have in this current moment and build with what we have at home, maybe it will be. It might change the narrative. It might change the luck that we've been having because we've been going from bad to worse, Broski, and we've been spending a lot of money to do so. So yeah, I would be interested in trying another route. So this doesn't sound at all bad to me. Of course, Harry Maguire definitely. I think about time he gets a move away. Luke Shaw certainly needs to be going. There are reports that there's lots of interest in Luke Shaw. There's clubs in Italy that's interested in signing the player, not only Como, but also Napoli as well. And this goes to show what Recap is saying. We are becoming a feeder club to Napoli because like it's a bunch of our players that are going to probably end up there. And Alien Tenor is saying, look at Henderson, Garner, McSpud, Hoyland, Elanka, Greenwood, all kicking ass. I really wonder what the problem is. And of course, guys, I think there's some players in the squad that may and should have moved on. The energy is not positive for the entire team. And of course, we are changing the team. And of course, we are going through a difficult period. So a lot of people are thinking that maybe there's something toxic inside still. But I don't think it's really something toxic inside. I think right about now, where we are right now is real and honest. It's new, it's a lot of new players. There are 10 new players in the team, basically, and most of them are the starters. So it's a new transition, and of course, we are still finding that same identity in a different way right now. So it's going to be a little bit long. And to be honest, yeah, I think something needs to change, and of course, maybe we need to inject some more because we've changed some players. Yes, we have brought in 10 players, but we don't have 10 players and 5 players for substitutes that we've brought in. So we don't really have that, player for player substitution, like for like coming off the bench. We need to get to that situation. And of course, bringing some of these players back might prove to be helpful because they would already faced the pressure at Man United. They were already in different positions. Like Greenwood would be certainly a dead ringer for me because the guy has faced the world with a mentality of a magnanimous monster. In my honest perspective, he's been very, very, very strong-minded, performing at the level he's been performing at in Spain, in France, and now going into the second season in the UCL. Of course, there's much, much more for him to do, but just saying that. And of course, I did see some of the goals that Hoyland has scored, and of course, that pass to him from KDB was certainly very, very neat. That he made it look very good as well with the strike. I cannot lie. But of course, guys, we are going to sit here and argue a lot of things and think about all the different things and possibilities and why this and why that. But realistically, guys, what I would say is that, it doesn't always work out the way we intended to. And sometimes we do spend a lot of money. Sometimes we do buy some top players, but when you put the pieces of this puzzle together, it doesn't always fit right, you know? So maybe we need to rotate and purchase until we find the right pieces that fit right for what we need to do. And maybe that means giving this manager some time. He may not deserve it in the eyes of a lot of fans, including myself. But at the same time, if this team can get to themselves to a situation where they perform and they're competing at the top of the league, he might buy himself some time with the board because he's certainly their guy. So for this and this update, guys, I tell you, think about it. It's going to get very interesting. And Man United is going to be moving, as rumored, aggressively in this transfer window. We could be seeing 3 to 5 players coming into the club, and it could be a shocking move for an extra. Depending on what the price points are, Man United could do some major deals. Of course, don't forget the probable sales of Jadon Sancho. There are reports that Juventus is still heavily interested in the player, and due to the fact that we've been getting some loan fees worth some money, and it might end up to a grand total of something like 22 million pounds in loan fees for that player. It might make it a lot easier for Man United to sell him to Juventus for 32 million euros, and of course still break even, which could be very shocking, but it is very possible. And of course, the likes of Onana, there are some reports that Transporspor is keen on securing the player on a permanent move and already trying to convince the player to sign a permanent contract so they can complete the deal with Man United at the very beginning of the January transfer window. This winter window is certainly heating up more than it's cooling down. And I would say to you guys, it's gonna get even hotter because if things are to be believed, we will be spending some money and a lot of money at that. Probably the most since we bought Jadon Sancho and Abadiallo in that one fateful summer. Of course, Rekal, bye bye Onana. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully, we will see. I think I don't like this guy at DOF, to be honest, but he is a lot different from what we've had previously. Certainly has a strong identity on what he's trying to bring to the club. And maybe I give him some time. He's said to be working very closely with the likes of Christopher Vavel, and they have said to have an amazing relationship. So maybe that changes his personal decisions and make things even better for Manchester United. I would say if he does land the likes of Stiller, Baleba, and Semenyo, maybe he gets some time because, yeah, not everyone's amazing at the beginning, and you might not like some people based on what you've heard that they've achieved. But sometimes they might just be the guy that might do something interesting. And when I say that is because I had to put my hands up for Dan Ashworth. I did not rate this guy, but then this guy was showing that his decisions would have been the best decisions for Man United if we had only just listened to that guy. But at the end of the day, hindsight doesn't make me a genius. It just makes me good at analyzing the mistakes that we have made. And that's all I can say. Sir Jim Rat, best in class or ass hat? I don't know, but what I can say is that the Dragon Claws might see this brother soon out of the door. There are reports coming in that it's not only a group from the UAE, but a Saudi group as well is interested in purchasing this club. Left to be seen is if the Qatar investor will reappear. And guys, I'm not saying that he will, but what I'm saying to you guys that there's certainly an interesting picture being painted when you look at people saying 5.2 billion pounds, but you've known for quite some time with the investment that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made that for him to make a profit on price point per share, we're going to have to sell the club way above 5.7 billion pounds. It's going to have to be a sale of about just about 6.2 billion. And while I would say that's a ridiculous figure, there is a lot of interest coming in around that figure. And if there's to be a sale for Manchester United, I would not be shocked, guys, if it was to be somewhere in the region of 6.2 to 6.7 billion pounds. And the reason why I say this, because if you think about it logically, yeah, we're going to have to pay off some of the debt as well. So it's going to get interesting. And there is also a possibility that, the Sheik could come back in. No one knows. But what I'm telling you is that there's a lot of interest. It's not just one group, it's multiple. And multiple discussions are being had and being held as we speak. So, guys, that's all I can say about what I know on the transfer on the sale of the club part. But apart from that, with the transfers, we are looking at Stiller. There are reports that Man United have been told they can secure the player for just about 40 to 45 million pounds, all terms included, based on their payment structure over a period of 5 seasons, which will be the possible contract for the player. But there's also rumors that Man United is interested in none other than Baleba. It's left to be seen if they're going to make that 70 to 80 million pound bid to open negotiations. But I can tell you, it's by no means going to clear 115 million pounds. It's going to be, in fact, a lot less. But what else I can tell you is that the interest in Antoine Semenyo is sort of in a critical point because there's lots of interest in that particular player. Liverpool is interested. Man United previously flopping a deal this summer with the player puts them in a precarious position, so they're going to have to act very fast, particularly with Antoine Semenyo, if they want to secure a signature, because Liverpool is there, Arsenal is there, Chelsea is there, Bayern Munich is also there, and there may be another shock club coming in for that player. It's going to get very interesting. And of course, if Man United does secure the signing of Diomande, it will be the coup of the winter window. I'm telling you for free, he's going to be here for a decade if he comes in. He's a young guy, big guy, strong guy, fast guy, very good on the ball guy. Trust me, he's going to be all our guy. We're going to love that guy. Trust what I'm telling you. And going on, not to say anything else, but to keep it pretty brief. The summer window was interesting. The January window could be explosive. A rebuild in January has never been seen before, but Man United is in uncharted territory, guys. So it's going to be something to behold if this deal gets done. Guys, I know you're here. Shout out to Stephanie G. Big up to you. An extra 2 billion, you mean, yeah? It's good. But we'll see what goes on there. Big up to Stephanie in the building. Shout out to each and everyone watching. Thank you so much to Bally Tech for coming through. Guys, I will be back with more updates tomorrow, and you might just get a morning stream. But fingers crossed I wake up on time because Trinidad and Tobago plays tonight in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. We face Curacao away at Wilhelmsted. And of course, we're going to try to get 3 points, which will put us in heavy contention for winning the group as Curacao defeated Jamaica heavily 2-0 in their last encounter. And Jamaica now faces Bermuda, who Trinidad defeated 3-0 in the previous matchup. Guys, thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful night. It's been your boy MarkN and my brethren Bally Tech.
Big up.
Shout out to you guys, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.